There are 3 magical kingdoms in the far, far north that are a food world unto themselves.
Oh, look at those. They're big ones as well.
I'm Valentine Warner, an adventurous cook on a culinary journey.
I'll be travelling from Denmark to Norway and on to Sweden, from summer through to winter, bringing delicious dishes to your kitchen from Scandinavia.
This time I'm travelling through Norway's wild culinary past, getting a taste of the food that fueled the Vikings.
This is the kind of food I really like, cooked in a cast iron pot over the fire.
You would have been a perfect Viking.
Cooking with ancient Norse cheese.
Look at that.
This is Norway. This is Norway.
And trying to catch the fish that made the River Namsen famous.
Oh my goodness me.
Norway is a country dominated by water and mountains, where tradition and history flow through the vast landscape. You can't come to this region of Scandinavia without tucking into its history, and that means Vikings. I'm in Borge, northern Norway, land of these legendary seafarers. And here stands a living museum, a recreation of the longboat-like houses that would have been these adventurers' homes on dry land. In this landscape so wild, the Vikings thrived on the kind of hearty food that I love. But before I get cooking, I'm going a gathering with Lena and Hege to find ingredients for my Viking-inspired dish.
So this is Viking herbs.
Yes, like this. This is called kvam or angelica. This is known to have a lot of C vitamins.
That's strong, wow.
You can eat the flowers.
This is much more delicate, the tops.
Yeah, it is. And they use it for medicine.
Angelica looks similar to hemlock, so only pick if you're sure it's the real thing.
Okay, what's next?
Next is the victory onion. This is one of the oldest plants known.
It's very oniony. It's delicate. It's got kind of a slight heat at the back of the throat, and it's very sweet. Wow.
This is a kind of dill.
Whoa. It tastes like dill with a bitterness and like it's got a bit of curry powder in it. That is sensational. So this is going to give my soup a licoricey curry element. This is going to make it super fortified garlicky. And this madness here is going to bring a medicinal aspect to my soup.
I'm in the chieftain's hall of the Longhouse, making a start on my Norse soup.
The Vikings were not, first and foremost, plunderers. They were tradesmen, farmers and fishermen, living off what the land can give them and what trade can bring back home.
Yeah.
They have lots of ingredients from the sea, from the land, wild game, fresh fish and herbs. So they really knew how to spice up the food, so to say.
So that's the dill stalks, red onions, swedes, carrots and celery all chopped up. Now on to the meat.
Hege, I'm putting heart in this recipe, apart from I'm putting heart in this recipe. But I thought the Vikings wouldn't have wasted anything.
I agree with you on that.
And they would have been people that appreciated these kind of things that nobody really cares for anymore.
That's right. I think the Vikings would not have let anything go to waste.
In goes the meat.
In with the tender lamb heart, and I'm adding pieces of lamb leg that have been curing in salt for an hour to keep the meat moist. Brown the meat, and then it's time to add the vegetables.
This is the kind of food I really like, Hege. Cooked in a cast iron pot over the fire and a smell of smoke in the air.
You would have been a perfect Viking. This is the food for Vikings.
Pour in some water, I'm adding 6 litres, and fuel the fire with some sturdy birch logs, or you can cook it on your stovetop. Then leave the soup to simmer away for an hour and 45 minutes. In the meantime, I'm chopping up my intriguing herbs. If you haven't got a Viking herb garden, you could use wild garlic, ground elder and dill.
Wow, that's added a vibrancy to a rather kind of humble-looking soup. It's suddenly become alive.
Oh, this smells delicious.
Oh, you can actually smell the herbs.
Oh, yes.
And a good dollop of sour cream adds a tangy richness.
It's so good.
You know the strange herb, the angelica-y one? I can really taste that, but it's become nice.
It has, it works. It works for the soup.
Well, this was really beautiful.
I know that Hege said that she thought I'd make a great Viking, but I didn't think she meant it literally.
Rowing a Viking ship. After a lot of cooking. Perfect unwind.
In this steep, water-filled landscape, you need a shore-footed dairy herd, and that means goats. Nestled deep in Norway's fjord country lies Undredal, a beautiful village blessed with fresh mountain streams, lots of sunshine, and plentiful grasses for the goats to feed on. This is Anna Karina Marstein's dairy, where she produces Norway's most loved and traditional cheese, brunost.
So could you tell me more about how we've got here, Anna?
Well, we milk the goats in the evening. We put the milk in the cooler, and then we milk them again in the morning. And the cheesemaker makes the white cheese, and the whey is coming here, and then it cooks during 8 hours. And in the end, it looks like this.
Wow. Look at that.
This is Norway.
This is Norway.
This is Norway.
For me, there's a real contrariness to brunost. Heated and evaporated until the sugars turn a rich caramel brown, it's made from the very way British cheesemakers discard.
It's wonderfully super intense, fudgy, caramelly, salty, and still faintly cheesy. It's amazing.
And this is very exciting, even for us who live here and do this each day.
The way you're gazing at the cheese, I know you're in love with this cheese.
I am.
Now that it's been churned, it's time to get hands-on making the savoury ingots.
You just work a little on it, try to make it even.
Anna, this is like being back in pottery class at school with a lump of clay.
It's looking fine. Do you want to make a cheese with a pattern?
I'd love to make a cheese with a pattern. It's getting more and more like school.
This is a nice mold.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is me, Anna Karina Marstein, and this is my husband,
Whose name is?
Magne Underdal.
Magna Underdal.
Yes, about. That's right, and then you take off the top.
And after a couple of days in the chiller, the cheese is ready to eat.
Some nice weather.
Norwegians love waffles, and what better way to savour this salty, sweet cheese than sandwiched in the middle of one?
I've got 400 grams of flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, vanilla powder, and 2 tablespoons of sugar.
And in this family, we put some oat inside because it shouldn't be too fine.
Okay.
Every day. This is every day.
How many oats should I put in?
A handful.
So I'm now going to add some eggs to the milk. If you were to put the eggs straight into the waffle mix, you might get a kind of streaky egg effect. But by breaking them into the milk and giving it a good whisk first, then you should have a very evenly coloured waffle. I don't think I've ever seen a view like this from somebody's house.
Haven't you?
No, not like this. I mean, you've got the sea out of your kitchen window and you've got this behind you. It's quite magnificent.
I do like it.
You do like it. I love it. Thank you. So now, I think I might get a whisk involved. We don't want any lumps, do we?
No, no, no. It should be even and...
Smooth as your cheese.
Yes.
Tell me about the Norwegian waffle love, because they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, you know, waffles are easy to make anytime. You just make it and 5 minutes it's finished. And now you need to butter the waffle iron.
Anna, are you head of waffles in this family?
No, I'm not. It's my husband.
This has made hundreds of thousands of waffles, yeah.
I think that's correct. My husband brought it into our marriage. He had a car, a waffle iron, and 12 books. So I haven't seen another waffle iron in our home.
And how long have you been married?
For 25 years.
And so if we work it out, 25 years, waffles every morning, 365 days a year, that's a lot of waffles. And it's still going.
Oh, yes. It does its job.
Wow. Whew.
And to top it all off, on goes a substantial slice of Anna's goaty caramelly cheese.
Oh, look at that melty, intense brunost brown cheese. I can really, with my hand on my heart, saying now, I struggled with this cheese the first time I ever have it. But I kept on eating it. It wasn't immediate, but now it is love.
I'm in Overhalla. It's only 30 kilometres as this river flows to the frilly western coast and wild Norwegian sea. Here the summer sun barely sets. The river Namsen rolls on in lazy curves of deep water to become a brackish blend that meets the salty ocean. This river became famous in the 1830s when British officers and gentry introduced fly fishing to Norway. I'm on the hunt for the salmon that swim upstream through the powerful currents of this broad river. Meeting a boatman is always the start of an adventure, and my guide is Rune.
Rune, hello.
Hello, welcome.
How are you?
How fine. Now are we going to boat fishing and fishing salmon in Namsen River and hopefully catch a big one.
We're heading up the river in stealthy pursuit of the salmon that rule this water.
This is an immense river. We're covering it carefully. My bright orange wagglers are working away in this inky black water. And I just really hope we get a salmon because I'm looking forward to cooking one as much as catching one. How big do the fish get in this river?
Yes, 30.1.
30 kilos.
30 kilos.
That's over 60 pounds.
Yes, it's nearly 70 pounds, I think.
Oh my goodness me.
And just 20 minutes in, there's proof that this river is chocker. When there's a commotion on the riverbank, my producer Chloe has hooked a beauty.
That's a big one. Thank you. What a monster.
Oh my goodness me. I saw this going on in the distance. This lucky lady here has caught this stonking fish. It's just come in from the sea. Well done.
I've got the perfect dish for a big fish like this, gravlax.
Were you to make a gravlax at home, it's a process that could last anything between 2 days or a week. So I've got a cheaty gravlax for you. I know how busy everybody is, so this is kind of instant results, or nearly instant results. So the first thing is to make the curing salt for your salmon. A small amount of white peppercorns, in they go, and a tiny bit of juniper. Now, if you put too much of it in, it'll dominate the fish. So just no more than about 4 or 5 juniper berries. Try and use lovely flaked sea salt. It's very hard to judge when you're using fine table salt. It's too strong. Sea salt is much gentler.
Next, some feathery dill fronds.
The dill goes into the mix too, and we have this lovely, herby, peppery, slightly junipery, sweet salt. And this is the cure for your salmon. It's quite important for this dish that you have a full-grown fish. It's got a lot more fat in it, and it can take the cure. Don't rush the slicing, and you want to be able to almost see the knife through the fish, and then you know you've got a nice thin piece.
Once the salmon's carefully sliced, lay out a sheet of baking parchment and sprinkle on the curing salt.
So you're just lining up your fish. Don't overlap them, because the bit that you overlap won't cure. Lay them next to each other.
If you want to try this recipe at home, go to goodfoodchannel.co.uk/Eat Scandinavia.
Now this curing salt will firm the meat up a little bit. It'll season it beautifully and impart its wonderful taste. But don't leave it forever. The point of this is it's the cheats version, it's the quick one. Put it in the fridge for 20 minutes and then don't forget about it, or it'll be over-cured.
And now for the mustard and dill sauce.
This is a classic accompaniment for gravlax. It's really easy to make, and in fact it's one of my favourite sauces in the world. Okay, so 2 egg yolks, a good squeeze of mustard. Now you might laugh at this mustard going, why is he using hot dog mustard? Well, the reason is that it tastes so like Scandinavian mustard, and I know you can get this all over the place at home.
Now slowly add sunflower oil to thicken the mayonnaise.
Now I'm going to add the vinegar. This sauce shouldn't be stiff, it should be quite runny. This sauce should be quite sharp. We never taste enough when we're cooking. Taste all the time. That's enough vinegar for a minute. I've got to balance it with sugar, and I know I want to start with at least a teaspoon. Now, the sugar's dissolved, I can't hear any crunching in the bottom of the bowl. I'm going to add a big blob of creme fraiche.
A pinch of salt goes in next, and a hefty amount of dill, the classic herb to pair with salmon.
It's that simple, a delicious sweet and sour dill sauce for the cheaty cured salmon.
The saltiness of the cure has drawn moisture from the flesh, firming up and flavouring the salmon meat.
I'm looking forward to this. I love salmon. Sweet, salty salmon. With that wonderful sauce on top. That's salmon how I like it.
Now it's all very well cooking with someone else's fish, but I want to catch one of my own.
I'm very, very excited, Bruno. I've got a small fish, a beautiful little river Namsen grilse. Small fish of about 3 pounds. Fresh in from the sea. Perfect eating size. My first ever Namsen fish.
I'm going to use this young fish to create a snack that's perfect for any fishing trip. After a quick wash and a pat down, it's time to fillet this fine salmon.
Don't cut straight down behind the head, cut on an angle and you won't waste that delicious bit of meat. Look at the colour of that meat. This is a young salmon. It's been out at sea eating lots of little prawns and shrimps and small fish. And the colour, it just says richness, deliciousness. Okay, this should be a joyful thing to eat. You don't want to be picking little bones out, so they've got to come out. So now it's just a question of chopping it really fine. As I kind of pulverise it with the knife, all the proteins are coming out and it's getting really sticky. And that's what's essential to make this salmon mince stay together around the outside of the egg, you need to get those proteins out.
Once the fish has been finely chopped, pour in 1 egg yolk to add richness and mix it together with a good blast of seasoning. Now it's time to assemble my Namsen egg. Dry a parboiled egg thoroughly and sprinkle it with salt. Pack the fish round the egg very gently. After rolling it in seasoned flour, dip your Scotch offering in some beaten egg.
Bathe the egg gently as you would a babe in a bath.
Then roll it in breadcrumbs.
Whew, made it.
Carefully lower the egg into a saucepan of hot oil and deep fry it until it's golden brown all over. Don't let it burn, you've really got to watch it like a hawk. My fisherman friend Runa is going to taste my Namsen egg.
Runa, a Namsen egg, a fishing snack for lunchtime.
Oh, nice, very nice. Very nice, very nice.
I think when you've done all that rowing,
Yes, it's very good.
you might need something like that.
Yes. Maybe later can catch bigger one.
Make a big and put a dozen eggs in the middle.
I've been totally seduced by this land of fast-flowing rivers and immense fjords, and a sense of being almost at the ends of the earth. With scenery so awe-inspiring, it's fitting that the food is simplicity itself.